Hey everyone, welcome to the season finale of Pokemon Imperialism. This is the final episode because we only have 5 Pokemon left, so we will be having 4 battles today. Alright, let's just get straight into it. Our first battle will be between Mudkip and whoever is southwest, which will be Bulbasaur. So let's get that battle up. Bulbasaur versus Mudkip. Let's just get straight into it. Once I find the user. Alright. Bulbasaur and Mudkip. Let's see how this goes. Bulbasaur starts off with Mist Ball. Does not lower special attack. Brutal Swing. They're at about the same amounts. Bulbasaur gets Forest Curse. Mudkip is basically Ludicolo, or Lotad, I should say, since it's a first evolution. Bulbasaur gets Night Slash, no crit, even though it's high crit chance. Steel Roller fails because there's no terrain. Bulbasaur gets Thunder Shock, which would have been super effective if not for Forest Curse. Solar Beam won't do much damage next turn since it's quad resisted. Once again, Energy Ball would have been super effective, but no, because of the Forest Curse. And that will leave Mudkip on 2 HP. But Bulbasaur does get the KO with Icicle Crash, so not to worry, Bulbasaur fans. Marshtomp gets Draining Kiss for not much damage, as Bulbasaur gets Psycho Boost. So now it's really going to want physical attacks, so that it doesn't have to use its -2 special attack. Not that it matters, since Bulbasaur does faint. But now it's between Ivysaur and Marshtomp, and Ivysaur hits a Guillotine. The 30% chance hits once again. Swampert tries to use Burn Up, but it's not a fire type, as Ivysaur gets Horn Leech. That's super effective, quad effective actually. And Ivysaur gets Mortal Spin, putting Swampert on a timer. It's not looking great for Swampert. It will have to do well against Venusaur. Low Kick deals damage, I guess. Ivysaur lives an Axe Kick, and if Ivysaur hits an attack and deals more than 7%, it's over. Ivysaur gets Shadow Sneak. Swampert, no, it didn't even matter. He just had to hit an attack, really. Bulbasaur wins. Bulbasaur will continue on in his journey. However, Mudkip can no longer be claimed as the champion. Unfortunate ending there, but nothing you can do about it. So, let's see what Bulbasaur gets now. Rewards. Mudkip's no longer here. And Bulbasaur gets, or Venusaur gets 10 defense EVs. But let's just go straight into the next one. Let's eliminate Mudkip. That was not a great matchup, though, so I can see why. Ooh, Grookey can actually go against anyone. So if it's south, it's going to be Popplio. If it's west, it's going to be Chimchar. And no, east, sorry. South is Popplio, east is Chimchar, southeast will be Bulbasaur. Got it? Okay. I hope you got that. And if not, oh well. Too bad. Southwest was not an option, unfortunately. So we're going to ignore that. Northwest also was not an option. North also was not an option. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to put this on 1 second spin. How about 2? North, once again, not an option. Northwest, not an option. West, not an option. There we go. Okay. Awesome. It will be whoever is southeast, which I said would be Bulbasaur. So let's get straight into that match. Bulbasaur versus Grookey. Let's see who wins. Technically, Bulbasaur does have the type advantage since it's part poison, but we've seen that doesn't really matter unless you get the stab move. And Grookey immediately hits a 50% accurate dynamic punch. What a wonderful start! Bulbasaur gets play rough, doesn't lower the attack though. Grookey teleports out and Thwackey will come out. Thwackey gets spit up, doesn't do anything. Bulbasaur gets Shadow Punch, doesn't do much. Thwackey gets Sweet Scent. Those 50% accurate moves will be more likely to hit now. Thwackey gets U-turn. They really love switching today for whatever reason. Grookey gets swapped on from a takedown. Bulbasaur snaps out of confusion finally and uses Howl, raising its attack. Disarming Voice won't do much damage. Grookey's not a special attacker. Bulbasaur gets Focus Energy, raising its crit chances. Trick Room from Grookey. Grookey now goes first and gets a Magical Leaf, which might be a sell. But Bulbasaur gets Parting Shot, which makes it switch out. Grookey gets Psyshock onto Ivysaur, which doesn't do much damage, and Triple Arrows will KO Grookey. But Bulbasaur is at half HP, and Ivysaur has been dealt some damage, and Thwackey just got Drill Peck. But once again, we see Dark Void, and it can't be used by any Pokemon other than Darkrai. Hypnosis comes out. Ivysaur falls asleep. Also, I did not expect Ivysaur to be faster than Thwackey, I'll be honest. Ivysaur gets Poltergeist, and Thwackey gets Cross Chop. Volt Switch from Ivysaur. This is really just a switching around game, apparently. Thwackey gets Topsy Turvy, but it won't do anything. Thwackey gets Pluck, which will take away Bulbasaur's berry. And Bulbasaur returns with Aqua Tail, almost KOing Thwackey, but it doesn't. Thwackey gets Psyshield Bash, raising its defense against Ivysaur. Ivysaur then gets Poison Gas, so Thwackey now needs to KO Ivysaur, but it doesn't. Now it's all up to Rillaboom. It's up to Rillaboom to KO Ivysaur and Venusaur. Ivysaur gets Plain Niced, which will make it deal less damage as seen there. Rillaboom gets Tail Glow, raising its special attack drastically. Con Guard raises the wrong defense stat based off of that. Slack Off will heal that damage from Triple Dive. Heavy Slam won't do much damage. Rillaboom gets Magma Storm, taking advantage of that special attack stat. And now it's all up to Venusaur now. Rillaboom gets Safeguard, no more status conditions, and Venusaur gets Explosion. What a sell by Venusaur. Oh my gosh. Bulbasaur fans not happy. Whoever gets chosen will have to battle Grookey unless it's Grookey, in which case we'll have to spin the wheel. And unless they can beat Grookey, Grookey might just win this. That would be insane. But who knows what could actually happen? Not me. Thwackey gains 10 speed EVs. And now we just go straight into the next battle. Bulbasaur, unfortunately, no longer here. So if it's Popplio or Chimchar, we will be going against Grookey, and it is indeed one of those two. So we will have Grookey battle again. And this time it will be against Popplio. So let's join that battle right now. Popplio versus Grookey. Popplio gets Poltergeist immediately for huge damage on Grookey. Grookey returns with Attack Order, which would have been super effective previously. Popplio gets Twister, no flinch. Wood Hammer from Grookey, KOing both Popplio and Grookey. So now it's middle stage and final left. Brionne and Thwackey come out. Brionne gets Roost, but it fails. Thwackey gets Drill Peck for okay damage. Brionne gets Fusion Flare, nearly taking down Thwackey, but Thwackey gets Sludge Wave for not much damage. Feather Dance lowers Thwackey's attack even more. Glaciate will lower Brionne's speed, so now it's all up to if Thwackey can get a super effective move, and he doesn't. Supercell Slam, but it's too late. Lumina Crush takes down Thwackey, and it's all up to Rillaboom. Rillaboom gets Thunder Shock, which is super effective, no paralysis. Brionne gets Endeavor. What a play. Rillaboom gets Topsy Turvy. Brionne is now at +1 speed as Brionne gets Head Smash. And against all odds, Grookey goes down. Oh my gosh. Let me edit this whole thing, because if I choose to do that, it just moves the picture because I have a picture underneath here. It's actually the map of Kalos, I think, that this map is. I don't remember. I made this map a year ago. But now Chimchar will have to beat Popplio, which means it is at a type disadvantage, which means chances are it's not going to win this. But we just saw what happens when you KO yourself with a super strong move. So who knows, maybe the same thing will happen here. Or maybe we'll see 3 Oko moves in a row. That is also 100% possible. Just very, very, very unlikely. One, there's so many moves that that can be chosen. 2, every Oko move is a 30% chance of hitting. So that's 30% times 30% times 30%, which is 27 over, what, a million? 27 over a million, whatever percentage that is. But anyway, let's just get straight into this next battle and the final battle. Who will take the win? Charmander? Oh, and no boost for Popplio. Sorry, Popplio. I know you really wanted that. But neither of you previously battled. So this is going to be a 100% fair game. Popplio versus Chimchar. Or Chimchar versus Popplio. Who will win this? Chimchar starts off with lunge, lowering Popplio's attack. Popplio returns with double team. That may end it already. That would be insane. Chimchar gets stockpile, raising its defenses. Popplio gets last resort, but unfortunately it has not used every single metronome move. And Dragon Tail will call out Monferno, so let's just switch and use Recycle. As I always do in these situations. That will not happen next season. I will be smarter. Crush Grip deals decent damage to Chimchar, about a quarter, but it heals straight back up with Synthesis, and Brion gets Baton Pass. Okay, can we stop? Chimchar gets Growth, it is just setting up, and Popplio returns with Grass Knot for 6 damage. And yes, I am checking. Chimchar gets Charm, lowering Popplio even more, but Popplio does get Aqua Ring. This battle will be never-ending. Chimchar gets Force Palm, no Paralysis. Popplio gets Tickle, lowering its physical stats. Chimchar gets Wonder Room. Popplio returns with Gunk Shot, no poison, but it does hit for a sufficient amount of damage. Throat Chop, no more sound-based moves for Popplio. It will take double damage this turn due to Glaive Rush. And Chimchar gets Heat Crash as Popplio returns with Temper Flare. So now they're at about the same point. Chimchar gets Poison Tail, no poison. Popplio gets Grass Pledge. They're both using not great moves. Chimchar gets Dive, protecting itself from Headbutt. Dive will hit, not much damage. Popplio gets Eruption, which does not KO, obviously. Chimchar gets Corrosive Gas and no more Lepa Berry for Popplio. And it's about to run out of Metronome, so it will have to start recycling a berry that does not exist. This is the 3rd Dark Void this season. Actually, in 2 episodes, 3 Dark Voids. Oh, and no more berries. No more berries for the 2 of them. Popplio gets the Paralysis through Nuzzle, and it heals up right before it runs out of Metronomes. It has 1 last Metronome. Let's see if it can do anything with it. It cannot. It gets Flamethrower. Monferno gets Spin Out. I'm pretty sure that I can Tea Time or recycle a Tea Time berry. I'm not sure though, so I guess we'll find out. Yes, you can. So, woohoo. Popplio just has to recycle. It is back at full because of that, though. So, Monferno uses Fly, deals decent damage. Popplio gets recycle, of course. Eerie Impulse will lower the stats that it cannot use until Struggle. Monferno gets fully paralyzed. Nothing much is happening. Monferno gets Dragon Hammer, deals good damage. It just needs Heal Bell. Once it gets Heal Bell, it's fine. There's the Thunder Punch and the Paralysis. Super effective and Paralysis. But once it gets Heal Bell, Monferno is perfectly fine. Popplio keeps trying to use Recycle, but it can't, obviously. Nothing is happening, as I'm sure you can see. Fickle Beam does finally KO the Popplio. And here's Brion, who has taken no previous damage. Bleak Windstorm right out of the gate lowers Monferno's speed even more. Monferno is at 52 speed. That is sad. Brion gets Poison Powder, but can't because of the Paralysis. Monferno keeps hitting through Paralysis. Brion is just lowering Monferno's speed, even though it's not necessary, and Monferno is at minimum speed, which is 32. And Brion just completely sold if it does not get the KO here. Monferno, the Pokemon that has been at that amount of HP for 3 turns, nearly KO'd Brion, who was at full. Infernape gets Endeavor, which is useless against Brion. Growth will raise Brion's attack and special attack, but never mind. And there's Final Gambit. Okay, bye Brion. And now it's all up to the final evolutions. Primarina does technically have an advantage, but Infernape is fine with physical or special moves. Infernape can be either, actually. Primarina gets Crush Claw, lowering Infernape's defense. Future Sight will be hitting at the end of this turn, I'm pretty sure. Chloroblast deals massive damage to Infernape. Agility raises Primarina's speed. Future Sight hits, doesn't KO Primarina. It's all up to one of these final turns. Primarina gets Acid, and that KOs Infernape. Primarina wins it with how much HP? 22. If Chloroblast did the tiniest bit more damage, it would have KO'd. But unfortunately for Infernape, his staying out of the way strategy did not work. So Popplio wins this whole thing. Can't wait to do the next one. I will figure that out soon. And thank you for watching this series. I will have part 1 of season 2 out soon. Bye.